folks, it's a Psycutlery Race after all. We got 2 players who have been working on this game, and we have one of the, where you do the music, is that what you said? And social management?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I've been huge partner with Luke, who's the developer of the game. Unfortunately, they're not available. Not sure where they are, but I'm the next best thing to that.
I appreciate you coming by.
Yeah,
DJ
absolutely.
Yoshiman.
Absolutely, it's been well, at least 6 years since 5 or 6 years since I've been involved, but a lot longer than that for the actual development. So I got more than enough ability to know what happens in the game, and I'm very intrigued to see what sorts of things will be happening in this race here.
Yeah, it should be pretty good. I'll go ahead and give them the countdown, and we'll get kicked off, and we'll talk a little bit more about it.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm ready. I'll pull audio from player 1 there.
Yeah, I wasn't aware that this had been in development for the last 10 years. I only became aware of this game coming out about a month before it actually came out. But when I was still starting speedrunning fairly early on, I used to participate in a lot of mystery tournaments, mystery races, and things like that. And Psycho Waluigi was a fairly well-loved one in the mystery tournament circles.
That definitely, that is true. I mean, that game just, everyone was like, oh, this is the game that Nintendo should have made with Waluigi being the main character. So it had a lot of polish to it.
Yeah. Especially for the time. I mean, I don't know really how game dev now compares to game dev whatever 12 years ago that Psycho Waluigi came out, but I feel like at that time fan-made freeware games just never had that degree of polish, so Psycho Waluigi really stood out.
It was an interesting scenario because at the time engines like Unity and Unreal and even Godot, they weren't as common as they are now. They weren't as easy to pick up, so to say. So a lot of people, especially when you don't have much money, you're making fan games because mostly you don't have enough income to just say, oh, I'm going to spend upwards of, well, I don't know what the price is, but this, high amounts on a license for this engine. So a lot of times people just get something like Game Maker. In the case of Luke, using Multimedia Fusion or Click Team Fusion, which did have a price point, but I'm not going to go into that. So basically, it was really easy to use, though. That was the main point. It was event editor, no coding, just drag and drop events. So,
right.
When it came to that, it was very difficult to be able to attain the level of polish because most people were just expecting, oh, just do this thing. If I do it this way, everyone else does it the same way. So to see a game made with that engine and be able to do that was honestly phenomenal for the time. Because everyone was like, and also everyone was too busy trying to replicate one game or another. Can I get the best Sonic engine, the best Mario engine, that sort of thing. Not a lot of people were going, oh, I'd like to actually make a creative, unique concept.
Yeah, it's probably a lot easier to execute an idea with a already beloved character or IP rather than have to do your own.
Dude is
People latch on
cooking.
a lot better to a Mario game than a game with a totally unique character you've never heard of.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not sure if you guys saw any of the blogs or some of the other streams, but Luke has gone on to say that this started off as a Yoshi prototype. The spork was Yoshi's tongue, and Balloon was Yoshi, and they started feeling that when it comes to fan games, he was just feeling limited. And I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people that love it, especially because it's free, but mainly because they know the character already. So he felt at this time it was time to branch out and do something different and not so limiting,
Sure.
there's creativity and limitations, but he already had enough of those that, you know, he's got to do something. They've got to do something.
So as far as this race goes, we did a sort of tester race of this game about 4 weeks ago, well before MagFest.
Yeah.
And we haven't done one of these in a while. You know, for the new fans of Speedbump, you know that we do a lot of blind races around here, but you know, we used to do more like month-long challenges where we'd have a game and just continue making progress on it and maybe have a race at the end or something like that. So this is the first time in a while that we've done the same game several times. And Dude was here for the first race and has been definitely working on it. I don't think Patty was here for the first race, but you know, he's picking up pretty quickly on what's going on in this game.
Dude is like just throwing dudes out the way and running full speed through this whole thing. Absolutely cruising.
How many times would you say they've been playing Psycutlery?
So Dude, I know, has been working on it, just like practicing it for this or for, I guess, maybe for his own enrichment. But because I was asking him questions a few weeks ago about, you know, if we do a race, what would be a good challenge for a partial game race, and he was giving me some feedback. So I knew he'd been working on it. So, you know, off and on for the past several weeks at least.
I can definitely see that. Just, you know, barely stopping for anything from what I'm seeing from both these players, actually.
What do they need to do?
Patty's a really great blind racer, so I knew he'd pick up on this quickly, but Dude definitely is taking advantage of a lot of practice.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, if they get all the way to a speedrunning format there, I can just see it going to the point where with 6 HP, they're just going to intentionally start taking damage, right?
Right.
What do they need to do to complete this? We're going World 2 was the limit, right?
Right. Yeah, this is just World 2. You unlock levels by completing levels. You get you unlock sporks or silver sporks?
Yeah, I think the gold ones are optional.
Yeah, they're like the bonus challenges.
I remember there was some option on what level you did, but ultimately you still had to kind of do all of them at some point.
Yeah, you have to complete all the levels, but then there's bonus levels that you absolutely do not whatsoever need to complete. They're completely optional, just if you want a challenge. Also, this dude is hanging off the edge of platforms. It is crazy to see. I'm just going to throw it out there. Luke has been active on the Eyes and Everything Discord, and taking all sorts of, you know, comments, critique, improvement ideas from everyone in the server there. So, you know, any players, current or future, want to know anything about the game that the developer might have more insight on that I don't, which is a lot more, absolutely feel free to join that Discord, and they'll be able to answer anything that anyone
before we started this race, you were talking about how over on that Discord there was a small community of people looking toward potentially speedrunning this as well, right?
Yeah, I have some interest. Again, it's hard when the game isn't huge, so it's not like, oh, this famous speedrunner is doing it, or I know this speedrunner and they know that one. But enough people have interest. I think that it'll take a little bit of time to build. We have some people that definitely are interested in it. And, honestly, I think I need to send them your guys' way towards your Discord.
I mean, it's a pretty substantial game too. That's always very intimidating, is kind of coming at a brand new game, feeling like you need to do some significant routing to do an impressive job at it. And you know, this is not a small game. We discovered that when we did the blind race, not really knowing much about the game, and we were like, yeah, we'll just see what kind of progress we make. And that amount of progress was not even to the end of World 2.
No, exactly. Okay. I just wanted to point out that, yeah, dude is at the point of taking intentional damage, like going, just letting the lava hit in order to continue on without needing to stop. But yeah, exactly. You are right. It's like the game, even more so with the dialogue, which is nice that, you know, for speed running purposes, you can just turn off the dialogue and not have it ever repeat. Those options are great for that. So if I'm understanding this correctly, so dude is definitely practice. I can see that. Patty is, for the first time, a blind run.
I think this is the first time, or at the very least, Patty hasn't been practicing in the same way Dude has.
Okay. It's phenomenal to see, though.
Yeah, we've got some really incredible players in our community. I mean, not just to hype it up, like, whenever we do these sorts of long-running challenges, we're often amazed at how well they end up doing. You know, we'll pick a game imagining that, you know, our players will be able to beat this game in half an hour, and we give them a month to work on it, and the times get down to like 3 minutes.
There's serious stuff with some of those games you can skip.
We've had more than a handful of games where we envision them to be pretty substantial. I mean, we did Banana Nabobber, we did the Cast of the Seven Godsends. Like, those games we had in our minds, like, how long does it take to beat it? I don't know, half an hour to an hour. And those runs ended up getting down into the minutes. Just because people would find ways to break them, or would, you know, really overperform what we had expected.
The tools that were provided, mostly by Darkman, I think, and Calimag sometimes, I think.
Yeah,
as well.
Calimag had built some trainers to help people practice games, and it got pretty wild for a little while.
We had someone actually programming, like, just being able to, like, say, redo a level over and over.
Yeah, one of the speedruns we did was a Unity game, and Calimag had built a tool to load into a Unity game to be able to choose your levels, choose your power-ups, save state and practice, for everyone to, like, really refine their strategies.
Oh man. Also, I don't blame Dude on that death there. That level is if I can say, I'm not a fan of the goo levels.
It's kind of one of the strange trade-offs of letting them play with 6 HP, is you kind of get in your head that you can play super aggressive, and some of these levels, like, you still have to play conservatively.
100%.
It's almost like if we told them that they could only have 1 HP, that they might do better on a few of these levels because they would play more conservatively.
Yeah, but also that's a tough
miserable way to live.
With those retro achievements.
There you go.
That's true. Also, if it helps at all, this game was developed in Unity, so.
Well, we know that the technology exists to be able to build trainers for practice.
I feel like there is a possibility, some good speedrunning possibilities with this game, not just because, like, one of the key ideas to this working out well for that is just because it's a lot of the same gameplay type. You don't have a lot. There's gimmicks to each level, but you know, the controls are nice and responsive, and it's the same controls each level, right?
Right.
And to the second point, Psycho Waluigi had a few individuals that were speedrunning that, and it even got someone who was working on a tool-assisted speedrun of Psycho Waluigi, and that was frightening.
Back in the Wild West of PC tassing.
They somehow, like, this game went from Click Team Fusion, that easier engine, to Unity. So it was crazy. Luke managed to figure out how to make this game and completely replicate it in the span of 1 year, I believe, with no previous programming experience, right? And with Unity, you have a lot of things that you're programming in, what is it, C# or just C, I think?
C#.
C#, yeah. So that's a lot. Going from simple drag and drop events with a few calculations like formulas you can put into, lower level programming, shall we say. But the game itself was using Click Team Engine, Psycho Waluigi was. And so it's what can you do with that? It's like it's a fairly easy program. There's not much you can exploit with this, right? It's not that well known, and yet somehow this tasser managed to make it so you could, I believe, at the end of each level, if you remember, the screen scrolls for a bit, and you have to defeat the person that's on the throne to take it over. And you have to wait until the screen completely stops scrolling before you can get to the door. But somehow the tasser made it so they just completely bypassed the whole scrolling part and teleported to the throne. I'm like, how? This engine doesn't allow you to do that.
Yeah, tassing is... I mean, it's amazing what happens to some games when put through that ringer. Darkman's absolutely correct, though. I mean, that was back in the era of PC tassing being done with Hourglass, which is not a pain I would wish on my worst enemy.
No, also, did I just... Sorry, I was watching Patty there, but did dude just finish Nailil in like 30 seconds?
That boss got crushed.
I kind of hope, now that I've seen what dude's been doing with this, I kind of hope dude's considering working on the whole game. I don't know if dude's just been focusing on World 2 since that's the challenge we were setting. But I mean, dude's done some really great work with figuring out consistent strategies for this game. So I'm kind of interested to see if he pursues the full game run.
Yeah, I am 100% intrigued and interested in what would happen with that avenue.
Addy has taken damage to go through the 6 glowing turnip monsters.
I don't blame him. It was right after that laser wall, so just not dealing with any of it's the right way to go.
Alright, so use the Amulet of Astronera to get rid of Berry Boss in, what was that, 15 seconds? Well, the first phase.
Certainly much faster than our race a month ago.
100%. I did see the YouTube video of it. I was impressed because some of them were playing quite well. I'm going, wait, this is their first time playing? Can't be.
Yeah, blind racers are a different breed. I mean, we talk about this sometimes on this show because of how good our players are and how shocking that is sometimes, but like learning to be good at a blind race is such a difficult skill to master. You have to learn how and when you can take chances and when to just play safe. It's very very challenging.
Oh, man, that was fantastic. So just saving the enemy, knowing when to hold on to an enemy and which enemy to throw at. Like that was phenomenal.
I was wondering which powers they would use and when. Because there are quite a few. I don't think I've seen most of them actually.
I think that's kind of the beauty of this is you can choose. Like sometimes it's the power, depending on which one you get, is going to help you out a lot more. Are they going until the end of World 2?
I think that's the plan, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's not Reach World 2, it's Beat World 2.
Okay, I was like, oh man, we're already towards the end there. Yeah, I was just I'm noticing that dude there with the berry boss. Like I noticed, took one of the berry. Luke is gonna hate me for not remembering the name of each of the berry enemies, but taking one of the small ones and instead of using it towards the boss, specifically threw it at one of the bigger ones to lower down its health, so that they were able to actually grab the bigger one and use it against
Smart
the
strategy.
berry boss. Yeah, absolutely. Whittle down its HP that much faster.
Games like this are always a ton of fun to route, just when there's so many options and none of them are obviously the right answer. A lot of games like this have a bunch of power-ups and there's a right answer. It's obvious what the right answer is, but a game like this where there's kind of a lot of different ways to approach all your different problems makes it a lot of fun to route. I mean, in the end, one of the answers is going to be definitively better than the others, but that discovery process can be a lot of fun.
That's true. That's very true. And you know, I would argue, and maybe Luke might argue against, or he might agree with me, but I would argue that I don't think there is a definitive correct answer. You know, like again, what I was talking about with the power-ups, there's so many different ones that are available. Plus, sometimes the power-ups are randomized. So one of the great things that you also have with this game, in terms of speedrunning aspect, is that you have your choices and adaptability depending on what could happen. Because also, health will randomly show up, and different things show up from the enemies. That could be the difference between what strategy you're going to use.
That makes sense. Dude was holding on to that enemy for a very long time. I knew he had plans for it.
Hold on, how did he bypass that?
He brought an enemy from way earlier in the level and just threw it at him.
I gotta rewatch that. What happened?
Sure, yeah, I'm just referring to, like, at the highest level of play, you can time out all the possible options, and one of them is going to be faster, but that doesn't mean that it's always the option everyone's going to want to choose all the time.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, in a extreme example, it's similar to the I guess I'll call it the Ocarina of Time speedrunning community, where they are almost got there, where they're there's such high level routes that you can go that they said, okay, this requires too much work. At this point they're literally recoding the game in order to get through it the fastest way. It's like, some of us just don't like that, and I can understand that and appreciate that. I think that's everyone's at least in their top 5 favorite power-ups, the rocket launcher.
That did good work.
And sing a song.
It does feel nice to just be able to go wild with the rocket launcher.
If anyone, I'm definitely not gonna spoil a single thing, but if anyone really likes the rocket launcher, I highly recommend completing this game, all the bonus levels, and completing as much as you can. And I'm gonna absolutely just leave it at that. Coincidentally, I was actually right before I joined the chat there, I was in the middle of updating the soundtrack there, so I was like, oh, that's good timing.
Yeah, we mentioned it briefly when you first got on the call, but not to overlook it. DJ Yoshiman did the music for this game, so you just said you have the soundtrack available somewhere?
Yeah, I have. It's on Bandcamp, so the soundtrack, about half of it are my songs. The one that's playing right now is one of my songs. But the other half was created by Luke, and there's a couple by guests as well. Like one of the songs is made by Sam of Freak Zone Games. And the soundtrack is available it's on Bandcamp, but if you were to download Psycutlery there, it's available everywhere on the website there, or on the tweet that I put out. It's $10 Canadian, which is nice because if you're American, that means you get it even cheaper.
Yeah. What updates did you have for it?
Not like a necessary one. I'll put it that way. Unfortunately, I'm not sure what happened. Actually, one of the guys in their Discord pointed out that apparently my tracks were having some peak noises, and I thought that was a problem with Bandcamp. Come to find out, nope, that's a problem with the tracks themselves. So I just had to go and fix that. So now anyone that downloaded it before and in the future are not going to have those sounds to which is not what you want to have happen.
Yeah.
Well, we've been giving a lot of attention to Dude because of how quickly he's just schmoving through the game, but Patty is, staying on his heels for definitely having not invested time in the same way Dude did. Patty is making this game look real easy. Just making really great progress.
Yeah, respect to both of these in their respective... So I was just reading the chat. In terms of their respective outings, they're both doing really well for where they are in the game in terms of familiarity. And I don't know how Dude managed to not get hit during that last little bit there.
Very boss.
Wait. Okay, so just to clarify, Patty has not done the boss before.
I'd have to go back and look at the tapes to see if he was in the first race. I don't remember offhand, but this might be his first time. I'm gonna pull it up. It'll bother me if I don't.
If so, I'm very impressed.
I don't remember. Patty's one of the regulars that shows up on a lot of our events, so I'm not sure.
You know what? Even if it's not the first time, I'm still impressed. That was quick.
He wasn't in the 4-person race from our first night of this, so...
Oh, okay.
If he has played it before, it wasn't on your channel, Smite.
Yeah, aside from that race, I've been out of town.
Yeah, Patty's been a regular with Speedbump for probably since close to the start of Speedbump. We've been doing Speedbump for how long now?
Oh, you don't want to know?
5 years? 5 years now?
Ridiculous.
Well, that's great. You talk about how you didn't hear about Psycutlery until about a month ago. I didn't hear about Speedbump until a month ago, and I love speed racing. I may not be an integral commenting part of the community, but I love watching speed runs. So I'm very surprised I didn't know about this until someone pointed it out. I'm not sure who it was.
I'm really bad at advertising. I've been doing arcade for 9 years, and people who have been my Twitch peers for 10 years don't know what I'm doing. Sunday night, I've been on there every single week, and I've never told them, I guess, what I do.
Well, as someone who does social media managing for an indie game, I understand how difficult that is.
Yeah, I don't want to just bust in and be like, hey, you see this thing? It's mine. I never do that. I don't know how to do that part of my livelihood.
Unfortunately, sometimes that's what you have to do.
rough out here. Everyone wants to plug their stuff.
Yep. I wasn't even sure if I was going to talk about the soundtrack there. I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't talk about that.
No,
I was going to force you. You weren't going to get a choice. No, we've been doing this for a little while. We haven't, we've been doing Speedbump for a while. We haven't, but a few times gotten a chance to bring on, you know, game devs into the process. So it's always nice to be able to talk to someone who worked on the game and, you know, learn more about it in the process.
That's true. Yeah. Everybody loves that when it comes to indie gaming. Well, I guess AAA as well, but it's a little more integral with indie gaming because generally it's going to be one, maybe two people that are like, oh yeah, I was here for like the whole thing, every department. Whereas AAA, you might be like, oh, hey, I got in touch with the VP of audio effects.
I've only had AAA game guests on like twice ever, and one of them was a stage designer who was talking about how hard mode was asked for by the Crunch publisher like a week before out, so it was just multiply every number in the game by 4, and they rolled with that. That's just... But yeah, it was not a... Didn't end well because licensing ultimately meant they couldn't commentate anymore.
True. Also, I think, yeah, dude's in the third world now.
Yeah, I think dude gave us a dot done. Yeah, 29 minutes, 21 seconds.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, if someone's ever nerding out at you about hard mode and Elden Ring or whatever, and literally have a quote from a guy who told me that they just quadded all the numbers in the game on one of those games, and they're just like, yeah, that's hard mode. And then there's a forum of people bragging about beating it, and it's like the laziest, silliest, the game doesn't work at all because of it. It was pretty funny.
It's true. And again, I give a lot of props, and some people may think I'm just overhyping a game I was involved with, but like, I just made the music and did the social media managing. Like, I'm allowed to be proud of Luke's work on this and be like, oh my god, I can't believe we did this. I was just gonna say, one of the things that I really like about the hard mode of this is not only is it optional, but they did so much work. For the challenging part of these levels, the alternatives, they are like full blown. It's basically the level in reverse, but with either a gimmick or something to make it a lot harder. And it's not just these enemies have more HP. There's not really enemies that have variants that are more HP in this game, honestly. It's good level design and being able to introduce something else.
Sure. Yeah, I feel like that's really challenging to make a worthwhile hard mode, because like you invest a lot of energy in making those levels, and most people aren't ever going to see them. But at the same time, you know, doing it properly in a way that's actually fun to play.
Yeah,
it's so much easier to multiply some numbers by 4. I guess what I'm trying to say.
True. Also,
Patty does not know what to do here, I don't think. Maybe.
They aren't on the microphone, eh? Or can't hear us?
No. They might be able to hear us, I'm not sure.
I mean, it doesn't matter to us.
Never mind. Don't worry. There we go.
Yep.
Perfect. I was just waiting for that throw up, and then it's all going to make sense.
They don't have any audio on their feed, so I'm not sure if they're just piping video through it and listening to us, maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, for those just tuning in, dude did complete the challenge. Patty's still going, but we're having a good time talking about the game and watching, so we're just rolling.
Yeah, this game looks and sounds great. I'm looking forward to playing through it this week, maybe. I gotta start into that. I gotta know how this plays, because I only have what I've watched to go by so far.
And not having at least one or two guys yakking in your ear at the same time.
I always have that. I have 2 dogs.
Yeah. I have the equivalent, one asinine cat.
I got 4 of those little monsters.
Oh, you have a whole party going on there.
I mean, I will say it makes a little bit of sense considering this has been dev for 10 years, but it is incredible what just one dev managed to accomplish with this. This is a game that has so much going on.
Absolutely.
It does so many things.
Yeah, some people might say that's such a long time to spend making a game, and how can they do that? But that's the beauty of what you can see when you have a long time and polish, and you don't follow the trends of AAA and introduce crunch and all that. When you don't have a time limit, you can go in and make a game even better. Like it's the same sort of idea as Psycho Waluigi, where a lot of people say, oh, well, what makes this game better than half the fan games that are out there? Not that I want to claim that, but that's what some people would say. And go, well, what made Psycho Waluigi difference? And
I'm allowed to claim
the
that.
level of polish. What's
I'll
that?
do it. I'll claim it. I ain't scared. They can get mad at me. I don't care.
Psycho Waluigi, I mean, I want to say for its time, but even now, I would say it holds up probably better than most fan games.
Which again is just crazy considering the engine it was made in. Also goes to show that a lot of times it doesn't matter what you make a game or a product or any art form of artwork. It doesn't matter what you made it in. As long as you have something good, you go with what you got, whether you can afford it or not.
Are we bowling? I don't think I've seen bowling yet.
Oh, we're sport balling. We're doing all the sports.
Welcome to the sports zone.
These guys are obviously going to skip. Well, I guess dude in this case is obviously skipping the dialogue. But if you guys want a good time, play this level and talk to a bunch of the NPCs. They're basically echoing Luke's concept of sports, of which they have none.
None of them understand sports.
No.
I split the Gnar on the half pipe. That's 10 points.
But just think of it like someone is visiting Earth for the first time and trying to understand all the sports at once.
Not realizing they're all different things.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
I will say, dude's doing pretty well here, which makes me think dude did not just practice up to World 2, but has a pretty good handle on at least slightly more of the game, at least up to this point.
Yeah, there was someone in our Discord that was mentioning, similar to what you were saying about how a big game, a long game, can be difficult or intimidating to speedrun because of the length and how much you have to do. But I'm repeating myself here, I think. But I would just after seeing dude go through all this, it's great to see just how quickly you can get through levels and how it's not that hard to be able to just go from one to the next one there.
For sure, yeah. Especially with a game like this where it seems like even though a lot of the levels do have a lot of variety to their concepts, once you kind of master a little bit of it, you can take that forward and it becomes a lot easier to continue learning.
I gotta know how to get into the into the stream. I saw someone put a link to some fan art there apparently.
Oh yeah,
I got rum art.
I can drop that in the Speedbump
cute.
chat.
Oh, that. oh, I love it. Oh, I'm you Rum Rusher, you don't mind if I share that with the developer, eh? Actually, I think I'll put it in our Discord, so.
How's Patty doing?
Patty's making great progress. I think Patty's nearing the end of...
I think so, but I have a hard time telling because of the flexibility of the level select.
I believe this should be the second last, and then it's a Slackomancer, and then we're good from there.
All right. I mean, that just goes to show Patty's skill that dude has spent all this time practicing and definitely has gotten really sharp at this game. Patty coming into this at least somewhat colder is accomplishing the goal in no time at all as well.
Yeah. Again, mad respect to both of these racers. I'm gonna throw a piece of tidbit just because the music, the song is playing on Dude's end there. This song is made up of Windows 95 sounds and old appliances, so the song has no actual instruments to it. It's just
all samples.
Windows 95 samples, a microwave, a industrial cleaner, and an old Easy Bake commercial.
Love it. All the walls are made of durian.
You know what? I hate to say it, but thank you for giving a name to that because I had no idea. It's like, what is spikes on it?
Oh, it's a jackfruit that tastes like gasoline. I hate it so much.
Ugh.
It's banned in a lot of countries because it smells so bad that they're not allowed to ship it. And
durian is like, what if fruit were allowed to be angry?
It's like 2,000 calories a bite, and it is disgusting. Some people like it. I don't get it. It's one of the worst things I've ever eaten.
Its smell has been likened to rotting meat.
It's a famous thing in gaming because it's so high calorie that people like Link, who are sickos, like to eat them and get full health. So I was aware of what it was and had to try it, but man, wish I didn't. Wish I could have left that.
I've always wanted to try the taste. I've smelled durian before, but I've never eaten it, and I've always wanted to. But now I'm worried with you saying that.
But you either like it or it's kerosene, you know? What do you enjoy?
So you either decide to eat it or throw it into your car.
Yeah. And your car probably would be running fast with all the calorie content. That's a lot of energy for your bud.
Did you just say 2,000 calories?
That's what I heard. Serving of it was. Let me see.
I mean, that's what, your daily intake?
Yeah, that's pretty close.
You have one durian, you're like, all right.
Looks like 1 cup, which is 200 and something grams, 240 grams is 350 calories, and 65 carbohydrates and 13 grams of fat. It's just one of those fruits that's loaded with nutrition.
I tell you guys, I did not expect to get a full-on lesson on fruits of the world coming into the street. Miles per durian.
So, you know, like if you eat 10 strawberries, you're getting like 50 calories. Just, you know, for reference on fruits that aren't disgusting.
One single cup.
Gotta pay extra for that rotting meat smell.
Yeah, it's worth like 100 strawberries. It's gross.
Man, dude, clobbered that guy. I'm not familiar with that boss, so I don't know how much harder that was supposed to be, but
I was hearing a lot of attacks happening in such a quick succession. I was actually I was thinking of tossing my name into the ring there and being like, You know, I might join the race if I'm allowed, but
Sure.
You're certainly always allowed.
right.
Not just for Psycutlery either.
I don't feel like I ever have seen an indie dev or any dev really put their name on a speedrunning board for their own game, and I don't know why that would be the case. But I think I usually see devs being like, "Wow, they're fast at my game." Like, I don't feel like they would necessarily be having that much of an advantage just because they know it well. They have a head start, and that's speedrunners are nuts.
They are. No, honestly, that's what I love. I love all the behind the scenes,
Thanks for
as well
hosting.
as front of the scenes, so to say. I just like being able to see the skills and some of the things we wouldn't have thought about. Like I've gotten surprised by at least 5 different things I've seen on the stream today, and this come from someone who's been playing the game for the past 6 years, more or less.
The first time I ever saw a dev interact with the speedrun was Meat Boy, and it was like the only time I ever heard a swear word on GDQ. Just watching them play, like, holy shit!
Oh wait, this is at GDQ.
That was like
on the couch.
10 years ago. Super Meat Boy, I think.
What's his name? Ed McMillan.
That might be it. Yeah.
A few
guy
devs
did
have been on GDQ. The Dusk dev was on GDQ for Dusk.
Rogue Legacy was is one of my biggest regrets because I was a big coward in like 2014. But Rogue Legacy had the devs there, and I should have been there at least on the couch, if not running that game. And I just didn't want to go something like that. I wasn't mentally ready to go to a big thing like that.
Oh.
But I saw the devs there for that, one of them at least.
So Patty's on Slackomancer now. So after this, what would you guys consider beating World 2? Moving on to World 3 or right after this boss?
I would say probably
when this boss is done, probably.
Yeah.
All right.
I've noticed that that's a by game thing that the community usually decides on, because it's like bar rules for pool. Everyone has their own idea where some people say once the input ends, so that would be ending with the door, I guess, or the last hit on the boss.
Oh, there's so much history for how video games get timed. You could write a book on. Okay, well, actually, that book's been written, but like from a idiomatically, you could write a book on that topic.
Well, each community has their own set of rules, right? And their own rules about those rules.
Yeah, typically.
Yeah, I would say that's the case. Yeah.
Typically, it's up to the community to decide what works best for them. For years, Okay, so the history lesson, for years, most speedruns got submitted to SDA, Speed Demos Archive, and they had a fairly standardized rule set that timing was always from the moment you gain control in the game to the last possible frame of control. So like when you start and stop, and so it was consistent that way. But these days, everyone kind of makes their own rules.
Yeah, like I was talking about Rogue Legacy. So once you kill the final boss, you have to walk over and enter a door. And I had some people tell me my time was fake because I had 2 seconds.
Excuse me.
Slackomancer.
Right. Last bit of the Slackomancer. Oh. Actually, I don't. I don't remember if this is the final phase or not. I think it is. Yeah. Oh, no. Oh, okay, yeah, I was right.
4740 or so.
Beauty. That's not bad for having to get into from the menu, get into the game, and then get into World 2 before you even start.
I gotta remind Patty
And
to
dude's
use
already at
stuff.
the third boss.
Nice. I definitely haven't seen any of this content. I'm at the point where I don't want to see too much more because I'm gonna play through this myself, and it's all kind of stuff I'm gonna laugh at when I see this monster come out. Kind of stuff. I just got.
I do definitely recommend playing with the dialogue there. Like,
yeah, I would definitely do that.
The gameplay and it's great, but this dialogue, all throughout, getting to see the different dialogue with each build that Lee had for me. I'm just laughed a whole bunch.
I'm excited to see if dude ends up writing the full game, what the time is, because this game seemed really substantial, and I feel like dude's gonna be able to put up some killer times on this.
I think so. Okay, let's see if he knows the strategy, if he's gonna do the thing. Oh yeah. Okay, he's definitely practiced.
He's not finishing off any of them because something happens when you...
Yep.
Yeah.
You don't do that on the first time, or even second time, honestly.
Oh no!
That got spicy.
Hey, good work.
Well done to both of our racers. Thanks so much to Dude and Patty for racing for us, and thanks so much DJ Yoshman for being here.
Yeah, thanks for coming by.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was great, great seeing this, and great talking with you guys a bit as well.
If people want to check out sort of the little community you guys have around this game right now, you said the name of the Discord's what?
It's called Eyes and Everything. There's a Discord link on the website.
Okay.
I don't know what the URL is. It's a bunch of numbers and letters and hoo-ha, but
Yeah.
you can find it on the Eyes and Everything website. It's just eyesinEverything.com, because there's
Great.
eyes in.
Well, I hope more people pick this up as a speed game, and it sounds like there's some people over there interested. So, in addition to our Speedbump channel, probably having some people who are going to know a little something about the game. If you're looking for more of that, that might be a good place to check out.
The Discord
Absolutely.
is and the Bandcamp link are all on that store page for itch there.
Yes, absolutely. There's a link in there. Or as I mentioned, you can also go. We have our Twitter/X page for that as well. There's links there on our pinned tweet. So there you go.
Awesome. Well, thanks for everything.
Yep. Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you very much, you guys.
Y'all have a good night.
Night.
Care.
Later.
I'm gonna find somebody to host over to. See you later, everybody. I see Dot Level is doing Metal Gear Solid all day long. Gonna host over. Have a good night.